We all want more freedom, and a lot of us work hard now in the hope we'll feel free later. What if there was another way? A way to feel happier, more free, and confident to get better results right now. Welcome to Your Freedom Unlimited, where we share practical stories and strategies to help you show up authentically, drop your fears, and take inspired action on what matters most to you. I'm your host, Jen Ramsey. As a coach with a love for metaphysics, science, spirituality, and strategies that get results, I'll help you step away from self-doubt and create a powerful new story for your life, business, or career. Join me. Have you found your voice and your innate power? Are those people who really need to hear what you have to say in your business, career, or life hearing you? Or are you playing it a little small? Is there something that you could be doing to share your voice with a broader audience, or to have your voice heard in areas that it really needs to be heard? Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Your Freedom Unlimited with me, Jen Ramsey. This week, I'm starting the first part in a series of episodes on finding your voice and your innate power. This week, I'm asking you two really important questions. Have you stepped into your innate power? And are you sharing your voice with the world the way that you think you could? I know this is a really big topic and somewhat provocative, so this week I'm just going to focus on helping you understand why it's so important to find your voice and power. In future episodes, we'll talk about how to find your voice and how to deal with common roadblocks like imposter syndrome and negative self-talk that can keep us playing small. But before we go on, what does it really mean to find your innate power and voice? Well, to me, finding your innate power and voice is about living, working, and speaking from that timeless, authentic, and very solid place inside you. It's about finding that place of rock-solid self-worth, knowing that you are worthy, perfect, and that you are fine just as you are. It is about being and feeling aligned and whole within yourself. And what I've found is that when you are in that place of innate power, it is so much easier to step into the place of doing something you are absolutely passionate about every day in some way, either professionally or personally or both. The other thing that I really wanted to share here is that finding your voice and innate power is about living from a place of personal responsibility, personal accountability, and love. It is not about making others wrong or blaming outside circumstances to make what you are saying or doing right. It really is about tapping into our source energy and channeling our work from that place of pure light and pure love. That's why Dr. Martin Luther King said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." And I just love that quote. It just completely underlines for me that point that I really wanted to make, that when we find our voice, it's not about being, really attacking others. It's about standing strong on a topic, but it's not about blaming others or circumstances to actually make yourself right in standing out and talking about that topic. So why is it so important that we find our innate power and voice? Well, there's a whole range of reasons, but I'd like to share a few of them with you today. The thing that I've noticed is that when you step into your innate power, you actually finally can connect with your purpose. I often hear questions from my clients like, how should I use my gifts? I've got so many things that I could do, but I'm not sure what I should do. Or other people say to me, what is my purpose in life? I feel like I've been struggling with this question for years, and I'm staying in a job or staying in a situation that really isn't serving me, but I'm not sure what else to do. In summary, they all feel very stalled, stuck, and very frustrated. And I understand how they feel. I had that same experience. But what I've found is that when we step into our innate power and our self-worth, when we really come to that place of being completely fine with ourselves, as we are right here and right now, then it's actually so much easier to find your purpose and your voice. Because when you're feeling good about you, it is so much easier to tap into your purpose. Why is that? Well, I think it's our lack of connection to our innate power and our feeling of self-worth that blocks us from our purpose. Most often, our fears of what others may think or the size of the action we think we might have to take can be so overwhelming that we won't even make a start. A lot of my clients, I speak to them, and they say to me, well, that's the thing that I'd really like to do. But I notice that the roadblock is the fear of these things. How much will it cost? What would others think? And would my life change dramatically if I went in that direction? So I think that's why, for many of us, it is so hard to find our purpose, because we know that it's there, but we're a bit afraid of what might happen if we were to act on it. The very good news that I've found is that when you step fully into your innate power, you will be suddenly ignited. When you are in that power, you will connect with your purpose and your voice in a way that will be unstoppable. So I really want to say to you that if you have been struggling with your purpose, it is probably a lot closer than you think. Each of us is on this planet for a reason. You do have a purpose, and it is there. Your core purpose is really to step into your innate power and understand who you really are. And when you come to that space, then you are in an incredible position to start doing some really interesting work in the world. And if you are really struggling, I'm very happy to talk to you about that further. Just email me at hello@jenramsey.com and we can have a chat and see what we can do there. The second reason that it is really important to find your innate power and voice is that you'll find that life will have so much more meaning. There'll be so much more excitement in your life. So if you have ever lain awake at night and asked yourself, is this all there is? You're not alone. I know I have, and I know many of my guests on this podcast and clients have said the same thing to me. It's a question that so many of us in the West have asked because we've lived what we call the American dream or the Australian dream, with a good job or business, the great partner, the children, the holidays. But some of us, still having achieved all of that, still wonder what else is out there. And many of us feel that we have everything from a material sense, but still feel very empty on the inside. And I think the high rates of depression and anxiety in the West support this. So what I've found is that when we step into our innate power, that question, is this all there is, fades away magically. Because when we're in that space of self-worth and that innate power, we have really tapped into what I call a mother lode of unlimited energy that really fires us up from the inside, suddenly life has more meaning and it's a lot more fun. And what's interesting with all of this is that it also relates to good old Maslow's hierarchy of needs. His name came up into my mind as I was preparing this podcast. I thought I'll just have a look at that again. And of course, when we're finding meaning, when we're in our purpose, we've reached the highest part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that need for self-actualization, which refers to us realizing our potential and feeling more fulfilled. And in this stage, we're also seeking personal growth and peak experiences. So it all comes back to that. The third reason is that it's really important to step into your innate power and your voice is that your voice will make a difference, and there are people out there that need to hear from you. And I think this is as important as finding meaning for yourself. I think it's important to think about how finding and sharing your voice could really make a difference to others. Just imagine if some of the game changers in our history had not done what they had done. What if Gandhi hadn't done what he had done? What about Martin Luther King and civil rights in the US? What about Mother Teresa and her stand for looking after people? And what about Nelson Mandela in South Africa? And if we look more recently at things like the Black Lives Matter movement and the movement that we've got around climate action and environmental sustainability, we see all of the differences that are being made globally. So my question to you is, what is common with all of these change makers and these movements? It's this one thing. All of these change makers, all of these movements, all of this incredible change they've made in the world, it all came from one idea that one person had. And when that one person felt extremely strongly about it, they gave voice to it, and then they shared that idea. They had the courage and the commitment to continually talk about that idea, no matter the person or the forum. And this then encouraged others to be involved. And movements were generated, even when it was extremely unpopular with the politicians of the day. So I know I've spoken here about global change makers and movements, but what I want to say is that this is just important for each and every one of us at our local level. everyone's voice is just as important. There are people who need to hear from and learn from you. Your experiences, your perspective, and your skills are unique, and they are needed by others, and they will find a voice with other people. Yesterday, I was on a group coaching call, and one of my participants told me she was becoming a parenting coach because of the experiences of guilt and not good enough that she had experienced as a new mother. She used the word shame. She said she found it such a difficult experience. And as soon as I heard that she was stepping into becoming a parenting coach, I was so excited, and I encouraged her to go for it, because this idea of mother guilt is so common, and it really brings a lot of women down. I've had so many conversations with my own girlfriends on this very topic over so many years. So her beautiful approach based on self-compassion will make a huge, huge difference to many, many mothers that she will touch in her career. But I just want to check in terms of why I think she'll be so successful in her chosen arena. Well, I think there are three things. Firstly, the depth of her own personal experience. She got to a point where she felt deeply concerned and deeply touched by her situation. She used the word shame with me, which indicated to me how difficult that experience had been. The second thing is her passion for the topic. And then the third thing is the work and study she has done to address those issues in her own life. These three things together have created a major transformation in her life. And she's now living proof of this transformation, and she now has the skills and the mindset and the capability, and importantly, the internal commitment that come together to give her the energy and capability to share with and coach others. It's all of these things together. But the thing that I really wanted to highlight here, was when she found that personal conviction within herself that something and her process was going to actually help and transform the lives of others. The fourth reason is related actually to what I've just spoken about, is that it's important to find our innate power and our voice, because what that does is it helps us tap into the passion that I call makes things happen. There's this thing that happens when you find your voice and when you find your innate power. You're suddenly fired up from the inside. The best way that I can describe it is that it feels like you are moving from being a spectator on the bleachers at a sporting match to participating in the match itself. When you have found your innate power and voice, it's like you've found a wellspring of energy inside that is unlimited. And I'm speaking from personal experience here. And why is this? Well, because at an energetic level, we really have connected with a very deep wellspring of energy. By fully stepping into your purpose, your power, and your voice, and keeping your vibration high no matter what, you will actually find that you'll drop all of your negative energy and resistance. And when you do this, you literally have bucket loads of energy available to do what needs to be done. And our fifth reason is related to the last one. It's important to tap into your innate power and voice, because you will end up feeling happier and more successful. Because what I've found is when you're operating from this space of high energy, you'll be feeling more fulfilled, because there is a purpose to what you are doing and you will be getting more done. And it becomes a really virtuous cycle of success. When you feel like you're achieving something and you're contributing to people's lives and making a difference, you'll actually become more successful. Some people, though, have asked me which comes first, finding your voice or your power. This really simple answer is that it is different for each of us. For me, it was a journey where I knew my purpose, but I had to actually step into my power and start using my voice to fully live my purpose. What I realized was I needed to really work on my feeling of self-worth and worthiness, and really step into that innate power within myself before I could truly find my voice and, more importantly, share it. So if you're not feeling worthy or whole, you will still feel fear of what others might say to you when you speak out on a topic. You might very well feel imposter syndrome, and you may not take action on the things that are most important. You might be concerned about taking on action on something that could draw attention to what you're doing. So your fear could hold you back in some way. But what I've found is that when you are standing fully in your power, completely resolute about what you are sharing, watch out, world, because you will become unstoppable. So, as ever, it's the time in this podcast where I'm handing it over to you. And this week, I want to hand it over to you by asking you the questions I asked at the top of the episode. Have you found your voice? Are those people who need to hear what you have to say in your business, your career, or your life hearing you? Or are you playing it small? Is there something else you could be doing to share your voice with a broader audience, or to have your voice heard in areas that it needs to be heard? Please share with me in the comments to the blog that goes with this podcast, or connect with me on Instagram at Jen Ramsey Freedom, or you can always email me at hello@jenramsey.com. I love hearing progress stories, and I love hearing people's comments to how they, in terms of how they feel about what I'm sharing on this podcast. And if you disagree, I'd love to hear that as well. So until we connect again next week, I want to encourage you to take great care wherever you are, and I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation with you on finding your power, your purpose, and your voice. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Your Freedom Unlimited. If you like this show, please share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review Your Freedom Unlimited on your favourite podcast player. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach me directly at jenramsey.com. Thanks for listening.